channel. And if I can provide any value to you, please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. And if you hear my kids in the background, that's because they are taking a bath. So God bless them and God bless you. I wanted to go over a little bit of the reasons why I started this channel in the first place is because of the stark statistics surrounding fatherhood in our country right now. First of all, there are a great majority of homes within certain ethnicities that grow up without fathers. There are communities, and especially those impoverished communities in the United States, that are much more likely to have dads outside of the home. And part of that has been inspired by the U.S. government as they incentivize men and women financially to exit the home. They get more benefits. Obviously, when you don't have to compile both incomes, then you get more people who are eligible for things like Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, and all those benefits, which can be very helpful to people who are in an impoverished situation, but make it difficult for fathers to remain in the home. So here are some of the statistics about what happens when dads aren't in the home. First of all, 44% of kids who grow up without a father in the home live in poverty. So there's a poverty line that's dictated by the government. It's something like $26,000 per resident in the household, and then it goes up slightly with kids. So 44% of kids who grow up without a dad live in poverty. There's a much greater risk of substance abuse or substance addiction in homes without a father. Now, naturally, if it's a single parent household, it's much more likely that the parent will be gone working a lot of the times, and so there's a much greater risk of substance abuse. I personally can say from experience that if you use drugs when you're in a juvenile setting, even if you have good parents, and I have both parents around, if you use drugs, you're much more likely to get in jail, to go through all those struggles as an adult, including having difficulties in relationships, not being connected to support systems and whatnot. So there's a much greater risk. Second thing that happens when dads are outside of the home is there's a much greater risk of substance use. Third thing that happens when dads are not in the home is that kids become much more aggressive. They're much more likely to commit violent acts. They're much more likely to be victims of violent acts, perhaps because they're hanging out with people who are committing these types of violent offenses. And that can include the types of offenses that happen in locker rooms that we've seen throughout the last several years of the prevalence of violence among youths. You know what I'm talking about. Spicy things that can't be mentioned on YouTube. There's 71% of high school dropouts grow up without a father in the home. So if there's no dad in the home, if they're not present throughout the childhood, there's 71% of those who drop out of high school and are at least partially there because there's no dad in the home. Now, that is not necessarily causal, but it's corollary to a lot of other things. They're at higher risk of committing crimes. So kids who grow up without a dad in the home naturally are at a higher risk of committing crimes. For every neighborhood that has a 1% reduction in present fathers in the home, there's a 3% increase in violent crime in that neighborhood. So it is super important that dads remain in the home, not just because they prevent their own children from committing crimes and going out and doing those types of things, but also because they're watching over the neighborhood, and those dads step outside of the front door. They can intimidate criminals. They can, criminals look for vulnerabilities. They push where there's mush. So if there's a dad in the home and they know that that dad is at least somewhat capable of defending the household, they're much more less likely to commit violent crimes within that household. So that is another huge thing that happens when there's no dads in the home, is that there's a higher risk of violent crime. And then lastly, perhaps most importantly, when there's no dad in the home, your child is much more likely to either become pregnant or to get someone pregnant before they come into adulthood. Welcome, Bozo the Clown. Thank you for watching. Anybody who's watching, I'll shout you out as I see you comment in the comment section. And please like and subscribe for more things that try to support fatherhood in a environment in which it is not supported in society, especially not in the West right now. So The last thing that I wanted to review is increased risk of pregnancy or getting someone pregnant when you are in a fatherless household. Now, we obviously wouldn't want this for our kids no matter what. If you're a dad or if you're a parent and you are an active parent, you desire what's best for your children, you absolutely would not want them to be in a situation where they're raising a kid while they are still a child. And now, while it's wonderful to have grandbabies, we would all love to be at least 40 before that grandbaby comes along. And luckily for me, I had kids later in life. Not that I'm recommending that, but I do not have to worry about being, a youthful grandparent. A lot of the people from my generation are youthful grandparents. Being a father is not supportive. Chance Mosler, I believe is Mosler. It's not supportive because there are certain ethnicities and homes where up to 70% of people within a people group grow up without dads in the home. Now, there's also the chance that the way that the government system of support is set up through Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, it promotes having only one parent in the household because there's more likelihood of getting benefits. Also, hello down there, Yogesh. There's also the chance that in a custody pursuit, when there's a divorce or anything like that, custody goes to the mom in 90% of cases. And while mothers are capable and they raise the kid into a place where they're no longer vulnerable to infant death or anything like that, and they're very capable during those early years, fathers are often the ones who propel the child successfully into the community after that. And so there are, hello, Miss Princess, there are 90% of custody cases go to the mother. And I love moms. My wife is a wonderful mom. However, that's how fatherhood is being stomped on. I am from Dayton, Ohio. I'm from the Midwest flyover country. I'm just a little bit northeast of where J.D. Vance grew up and his hillbilly elegy was put forward. So again, those are some of the statistics. I do understand that it seems like, well, dad, everybody loves dads. But if you look into modernity, there are articles by the New York Times, even within the last 2 weeks, that said, are men necessary? Can we just put all men on an island? Can we get rid of them? And for those of us who had a good dad, we understand the representation of that within our lives. But for those of us who are in the internet era and we're looking into some of the articles and things out there, moms are supported wherever and whenever it's possible. Dads are supposed to put on their bootstraps and buckle up and just do what's necessary and what's to be done. But as a counselor and a therapist for the last 12 years, I have been personally witness to the fact that a great many men will not even be allowed access to their children if there's any type of divorce, if there's any type of difficulty within the relationship. And I've counseled over probably 4,000 men, and almost none of them had access to their children, especially when they were attempting to seek recovery. This is coming from a select few, including feminists. That's true, but the society's media structure is dominated by those who believe that ideology. Now, it's up to us as men and as people who care about the role of fathers within the home to try to produce a structure and an Overton window that would allow for fatherhood to be paramount and to be as supported as motherhood is, because there's motherhood programs all over the place. Being a man and a father are intertwined. So those things are they're woven together, whether we like it or not. Masculinity and manhood is inherent to being a good father, because if I just roll over and let my children do whatever they please or have a feelings first household, that's not always what it means to be an authority, which is part of what it is to be a good dad. I'm protecting them when they need protection, and that is ultimately something that requires taking authority and not just having a gentle parenting household at all times. Now, it's okay to be soft and be a gentle parent sometimes, but it is a good thing to be a masculine father, to have the ability to defend, protect, and provide for your family, and to be a man after God's own heart at the end of the day. If this material is worth anything to you, please like and subscribe. I appreciate so much all your support. I'm praying that 2025 will be the year that the future of fatherhood will be pressed forward in the Overton window and in the modern conversation in America. I appreciate all of the feedback, and I'd love to hear from you guys again. Have a great day. God bless.